This video is brought to you by Ageless Geeks.
Cowabunga dudes and dudettes, this is Anthony, aka Batbomb82, and today I'll be doing a review of the Noir Toyz Gotham by Gaslight Batman. Now, as you can see, the figure comes in a large box with an image of the figure kind of ghosted in the background. Turning the box around, we can see a bunch of write-ups and legalizations, quote unquote, for Noir Toyz. So with the box out of the way, let's crack this figure open and let him breathe. Alright guys, so let's take a closer look at this Noir Toyz Batman. Now it seems like we've been waiting a long time for this guy, and he's finally here. Now does he live up to the hype? We'll see. One thing I will note out very quickly, he's a little small. Now, that's not to say that isn't a very uncommon thing. So for those of us that collect a lot of third-party figures, this is a very common size. Now, if you're into this because of Mezco figures do run larger than they probably should. So if you're looking at to compare to those, if anything, Mezco is kind of like in a field of their own. So this is not to try and compare it with a Mezco figure, but still, this is actually pretty cool. Now, it does have some problems, and I will explain that, but I still like it for what it is. I was seeing some early pictures, and I was kind of losing my hype for it. I'm like, yeah, we'll see how it is. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still, everything about this looks really nice. I do like the head sculpt with the goggles. I think all looks really cool. I do love this whole like chest flap area, which is really cool. I do love the belt. There's a bit of the dark wash in there, which looks really good too. The spandex feels really nice. A lot of third-party companies don't really get spandex right, and this is probably the closest thing that I've felt to Mezco. It adheres to the body very nicely. The nice high boots, which are really cool. We do got tread on the feet with a little bit of dirt on the feet too, which I think is nice. No peg holes, but everything about this looks really good too. You can see his knives back there, all that. Very nice looking leather-like cape. I love this cape. This is one of the best capes I've felt on any figure. It has this very like leather-like material, and it's really nice. It does have a bendy wire all the way through to each little line, which I love. So that's really cool. Very, very nice. Now this is initially, again, third-party, unlicensed. This is a Gotham by Gaslight's Batman. So if you read that book, you know exactly what this is, and I think it came out really nice for the most part. It's hard to expect certain things, certain qualities, certain, positive things about a third-party figure, but still, again, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So now let's run down his accessories here. So we can see his knives right here that we do have holstered. Each one of those is removable, and I think those look really nice too. Great looking handles. He can hold on to those very nicely, so that's really cool. And they all holster in the belt very good too, so I dig that. One thing I will say with this belt, it is constantly kind of just like moving out the way. When you're posing around, you're going to constantly have to shift it into a proper place with the buckles in the front here, so this might come up like this and things like that. So just something to look out for when you're messing around with him. We do get this really sweet grapple gun. I think this thing looks so good. The paint on it, the sculpt looks really cool. It looks very steampunkish. So I dig this, man. This looks fantastic. The little calligraphy thing on the handle looking really good. Such a nice grapple gun, and it feels like it has some good bulk to it too, so I love that. The grapple hook itself does come out like so, it's just via a little peg like that, so I dig this, man. That is actually really nice looking too. And again, this does hold into his little gripping hand pretty good. It's a little tricky at first to kind of get it in, so I love that, and it holds onto that very well, so I do appreciate that. Now it does look like we got some type of holster on the back right here. I'm assuming that's for the grapple gun, and I'm not quite sure, so feel free to let me know if I'm doing this wrong, because I kind of feel like I am. I'm assuming it kind of clips on to the back like so you could hold the gun back there. Maybe upside down, I'm not sure, because it feels It almost feels a little too bulky to get in there certain ways. Maybe like that. I don't know. Again, feel free to let me know if I'm doing that wrong, or maybe that's for his batarangs. I have no clue. So anyways, speaking of those batarangs, we do get some of these ones right here. They're looking really nice. Flat black with the silver on the edging. I think that's really cool too. Again, maybe that's for this. I don't think so. I think it's more for the grapnel gun. So either way, I'm probably totally botching that. It's still good stuff here. We do get interchangeable hands. So we got gripping hands. We got trigger finger hands. We got like open palm hands, which is really nice. So pretty much everything you're going to need. What's also really cool is that we actually do get extra pegs. So that's really nice. I love that. Just in case you snap one off or lose one, whatever. We do have extra pegs in there, so that's very nice. So you can pop these off just like that, straight little via peg like so. And then this whole thing right here is a separate piece. And I've noticed that when I'm switching things out or playing with them, these will move around a lot too, because they're pretty loose on the forearm right here, and they will fall off almost every time you're trying to switch out the hands. So just be aware of that. And then because it's a third-party figure, I tend to get a little scared popping on the pegs, but it's actually working pretty good with this one, so that's really nice. So I like that. I was really worried about breaking any of these pegs, so it seems pretty solid, so I like that, man. Again, not really complaining. So we do got some extra heads here. We got one with the goggles like so. You could bring this one in right here, and we just a standard Batman head without the goggles. Same like stitching on the forehead and things like that. So this looks pretty cool too. I like the long ears. They're a little pliable, so I don't feel like I'm going to snap them or anything like that. So that works out pretty nice. Again, not perfect, but I still like it. We also do have the drum totally came off right there. So again, that's something you just kind of got to expect when it comes to a third-party figure. Stuff like that does happen. Then we'll put on the unmasked head like so. And I think this looks really nice too. Now here's the thing with this one. I'll try and get zoomed in real nicely. It looks like they were going for Batfleck. You know, it does look like they were doing a Ben Affleck vibe to this. So I'm assuming that's what they were going for, even though this shouldn't be a Ben Affleck. So do you guys see that, or is that just me? So I mean, it looks nice. It still looks like a cool Bruce Wayne head. A little bit of gray hairs on the sides. So it's very interesting. But I will do this. I'll bring in my Mezco Batman Batfleck figure. You can kind of see, I mean, neither one of these looks like exactly like him. But you can kind of tell, like, they both have that Ben Affleck vibe to it. So I'm assuming that's what they were kind of going for whatever reason. So, I mean, it is what it is, but still, it's just, when I first saw it, I was like, dude, that's totally a Ben Affleck head. Why would they do that? Whatever, not a big deal. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to pop this standard head back on with the goggles, because that's what I'm going to be rocking them with. What I also do love here, you get that extra shawl piece that kind of goes around the shoulders. Now, what you're supposed to do, you got little loops right here on the inside. This is a little tricky, so I'm going to try and actually do this without the head. And you can actually take off this whole piece if you want to. It's a separate piece that just floats over that, so you can take that off if you want to. And then you're technically supposed to take off the gauntlets like this. I might as well just do this whole thing on camera for you. Take off the gauntlets like that. This is going to be such a pain in the butt to do on camera, so I'm going to try and get it like that, and then like that, like so, there. And then, oh my goodness, this is tricky. I'm going to try and do this right here. I hope you guys enjoy watching me struggle, because that's exactly how I feel whenever I do stuff like this. This is why I don't do a lot of Transformer reviews, because I feel like I'm constantly botching that kind of stuff. So that's going to fit through there, like that, kinda, sorta. Is that just not fitting? What's happening? Oh, it's getting caught over here, but it's like that, like that. Oh, we almost got it. Just kind of tuck that into his armpit a little bit. There we go, like that. There we go. Put this over here, like so. Okay. Then we're going to put the forearm back on like that. And then this hand back on like so. And then take this forearm, put that on like that. And then put this hand back on right there. Like that. That's pretty good. And then we're going to take the head. And then boom. And there we go, man. And then he adds this little extra shoulder piece like that. that's how it's supposed to be like in the comic books. So this is how I'm gonna rock it, because that's more accurate to that. This looks really nice. I love the way this looks. It's a very nice looking piece. It's attracting dust like a mofo. You see a little white piece, that little white stuff right there? That's just from me messing around with it. But that looks really cool, man. I love the actual metal chain that we're getting across right there. This thing has a bendy wire in it too. You can see that, so you can actually pose that around, even around the collar, all the way down to here. So that's actually really cool, man. I'm actually really impressed by the way that's working. I just think that gives it a whole extra look to them that I'm loving. So that works out very nicely. And then one of the last things that we do get here, we do get this really cool base if you got the deluxe version. So you have this really nice base. It has like this cracked stone with the Batman logo on there. It does come with an articulated arm like this that you can plug onto the back like so, and it does have an adjustable cradle like that, so articulation points so you can hold them up. But you also do get this little piece right here as a little gargle if you want to add that to that stand. So I think that's really, really awesome. Like, it makes for a really cool display piece. So I dig when we get stuff like that. And then the very last thing that we do get here is this cardboard backdrop, which I think is really cool too. Very gothic, very cool artwork. You can see like the castle. I'm assuming that's maybe Wayne Manor or maybe London. Well, you see like Big Ben there, so I'm assuming this is London. Then you see the bats forming the bat logo with the moon and all that. I think that looks really awesome, man. Very cool. So you could take the figure and, you know, pose them with that background like that. I just think that's so cool. Again, very deluxe. So I actually love stuff like that, and it looks really nice. And I love the fact that it's more of a flat coat to it. So it's really not glossy, because I have my lights shining on things very brightly, and sometimes you'll see a glare when it comes to stuff like that. But since it's pretty flat, it's actually working pretty nicely. So I like that a lot. So I'm just going to leave that up for the rest of the review. So that's everything that we do get with this figure. Again, I love all the things that we're getting here, especially with that gargoyle base. I think that's really cool, but still, this all feels really nice to me. Alright, so now let's run down his articulation. I know this is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in, so let's see what we got here. So the head is on a ball joint, rolls around very nicely. You get a lot of good motion there. Does turn left and right. We get up about that far, down about that much, and then pivot side to side. So that's really nice. Arms can go all the way up that far. There is like a butterfly joint with the ball peg, so you get a lot of good motion in there. Go all the way up like so, and down like that. We got rotation at the bicep. We got double jointed elbows. I mean, you can see how that bends very nicely. So you get a lot of good motion there. Rotation at the wrist, as well as a hinge at the wrist. We do seem to get, I guess, it does feel like a double ball peg in the midsection here, so you can actually get a lot of good motion there. Pivot side to side, crunches back about that much right there, all the way forward like so. So that's actually pretty good, I think. We got hip joints that kick forward that far, back about that much, which I think is nice. Splits all the way out about that far. Now I have seen people here, the seam has been ripping on the crotch area, so I don't want to do that too much. One thing I will notice, I wish these hip joints were a little tighter, and I'll show you this. I'll kick this out, it kind of just snaps right back into place like so. See that right there? Oh, that's not good, because it won't hold its pose because the fabric here is too tight and that joint is too loose, so the fabric is actually pulling that leg right back in. So that's a little disappointing. You can still get poses when you're standing them around and stuff, but it's gonna snap back, and it's gonna be a little tricky to separate the legs and get them to stay a little probably, but you can do it, and you'll see pictures later on here. We also do get rotation in the upper thigh. We get double jointed knees. We do get rotation at the boot. Ankles can go up, down, rotate, a decent ankle rocker, and then we do get toe articulations. So honestly, pretty good articulation. Again, there are some loose things here, again, with some of the joints and whatnot, but you have to keep in mind, this is a third-party figure here. This is nothing that's meant to be super high-end, even though I know these prices are super high-end. But again, if you're not new to third-party, expect some issues. It just seems to happen with every third-party figure I've noticed. This one, honestly, a lot better again. A lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm actually really happy I have this now. He's going to make for a really cool display piece with that backdrop, that gargoyle, holding his different accessories. I think he's really awesome, especially because I love the Gotham by Gaslight story in the book. I think this is a really cool figure of that rendition of Batman. So for a quick size comparison, here he is standing next to a Marvel Legends Deadpool and McFarlane Batman figure. Also for comparison, here he is standing next to a couple other third-party figures, being the Bullethead V-Mask and Patriot Studios Arthur. And for even more comparison, here he is standing next to a Mezco 112 Collective Supreme Knight Batman and Gotham by Gaslight Batman from Mattel. And just for fun, here he is with little Lego Bat Bomb. So there it is, guys, my review of the Noir Toyz Batman. Now again, this is a third-party figure, so it's not the best quality overall, and I'm kind of used to it with these things. I do like the fabric for the most part. It looks really nice, and I've seen that people do have issues of it tearing, so I understand that's going to be a problem. Just be very careful. The articulation works fairly well for the most part, but it does have some loose joints here and there, like in that hip that I showed you. The wrist and the arms can feel a little loose at times, so it's not the greatest. I also think it's a little awkward that they're using a Ben Affleck style head. That's just something I didn't really expect and is kind of surprising. This thing still does have some great points to it. Overall look, I think, really works. I do like the sculpt and the paint for the most part. The extra accessories like that gargoyle in the background and all the different accessories with the interchangeable parts actually all look really cool as one awesome display piece. I think overall this figure is really nice. Is it the best Batman we're ever going to get? I don't think so, and it is kind of pricey for what you do get, but still, he's not as bad as I saw other people saying. To me, he's actually pretty cool even with his problems. Now, if you can afford it and want to try your luck, I think it's totally worth it, but if not, I totally understand the pass. For me, I think he's a lot of fun and definitely a must-get. So please comment, like, and subscribe. Stay nerdy, my friends. Peace.